What's up, you guys? This is Zay Brooks, and this is episode 21 of a show that I do not know the title to yet. Today, what I wanted to talk about is the idea that less is more. When you know there's something that you want and you're on the right path, moving around so much and trying to figure out what's the next opportunity, or you shift your attention here or your focus and you're all over the place, actually does a lot less for you when you know what you want. The biggest thing that I talk about in my show is a chief definite aim with a burning desire and a wavering faith. That doesn't mean that once you have this definite aim and you have all those things, you start moving around and start freaking out. The best thing for you to do is recognize what it is that you want and then figuring out how to conserve as much energy as possible so that when the time does come to act, you do so. A funny example I'd like to make is Lionel Messi, right? In soccer, they say he's the GOAT. But then a lot of people will be like, oh, Messi walks around a lot of the time. Messi's lazy, Messi's this. But funny enough, when it's time for Messi to make a play or go on a run, he does it flawlessly to the point where it's like he can't do no wrong. That's kind of the example that I'm making is there are times, I guess, for you to move around a lot for little bits and pieces, but it's not profitable or valuable to be able to just turn your attention and move away. Oh, I want to try this type of content. Now I want to try this. I'm in this business and oh, no, wait, this industry is way better. Or I'm talking to this girl and oh, no, now I'm going to talk to this girl because this makes sense. It is okay to not move so much when you know what it is that you want. Messi has the goal in mind to win the game, score the goal, give the assist, whatever it means. It's important to, and I'm talking to myself here, to stay patient, and less is actually more when trying to get what it is that you want. That's more so what I want to talk about today. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's 80-something degrees out here. The sun is shining. I have like this sore throat, and part of me is like, man, I don't even really want to do this. But I know that this is important for me to talk about and stuff to get off my chest and things that I want to talk about, my business plan, my idea for this. And then more importantly, it's like for you guys, I want to be able to have quality content that I feel like sharing. In my book, there are no excuses, right? Or if there is, I'll say right after I say something, I'll be like, that's my excuse. Because at least I have the self-awareness in it that, excuses are things that will ruin you if you don't know that you're giving the excuse. Right? Sometimes it's okay to give excuses, right? Let's say you really don't want to do something, or you'd rather relax, or you'd rather spend time with family. Like that makes sense. But to not know of the excuses that you constantly give is a scary, scary thing. Because then your subconscious doesn't even know what you hold yourself accountable to. At least if I say, yo, I'm about to go on a 5K, and then I don't, I have to come to terms with it in my conscious mind, which will feed into my subconscious that, hey, I didn't do it because I'd rather hang out with my dad, or I'd rather go do this. And it's the same thing with these episodes. So I didn't really have an excuse that was worthy to me. So I came out here and I'm on some sort of vacation right now, but I came out here to talk to you guys about less is more. Especially as like a very young person trying to figure out who it is and where they want to be in this world. It's kind of difficult to not do a whole bunch of things when you don't know what you want. A lot of young people, even in their mid-20s, all the way 30s, 40s, a lot of people don't know what they want. So naturally their attention and their focus gets distracted and divided among so many people, among so many things. It's funny. It's like once you decide to focus on one girl or one guy, once you decide to focus on, one career path or one content creation style or, anything, one major in school, it's like things naturally become calmer for you. Less is actually more. The man, I think it was Bruce Lee that said this, but I fear the man more that's kicked one type of kick 10,000 times versus a man that's kicked 10,000 different kicks one time. But again, that's very hard for some people to do because you don't know what you want. I always talk about in my episodes, a chief definite aim mixed with burning desire and a wavering faith. That doesn't mean that once you have the chief definite aim, we're moving around and running around and focus is all. No, it means we know what we want. We have a burning desire for it. That doesn't mean I'm moving around everywhere, trying a whole bunch of different things. I already know what I want. And then the unwavering faith that me being the co-creator of my reality with God, the physical equivalent is inevitable. At that point, one of my favorite authors, I'm going to write a book like him one day, is Michael A. Singer. He has his book called The Surrender Experiment, where he literally did that. His goal was to be free. I'm not going to ruin the book for you because I know a lot of you are going to probably end up reading it. His goal was to be free. So he basically just bought some land and just was free. And sure enough, all the opportunities he could ever hope and dream of showed right up at his door. I think he is the almost a rational example of when you know what it is that you want, life becomes just a lot easier and your focus becomes a lot clearer. Less is more. The less things you want, the better, right? The less significant others you need in your life, the better. The less career options that you have, the better. The more you're able to focus is far more important, because then you get to practice on it and your focus and your attention is not on other things, which is super important. Sorry if I'm repeating myself or even just spitting right there. Like I said, I don't know. I feel like I'm not sick. I don't get sick. My immune system is awesome. So when that's not the case, I'm like frustrated in a sense. But I guess, something to be thankful about, right? I could sit here and be like, oh, I'm sick, blah, blah, blah. How thankful am I that I'm alive, that I have both my eyes, my ears, my arms, my legs, that I can breathe, that life is good. I have family and friends that love me. Like, I don't know. It's just very important to realize whenever something bad happens, it's a great time for you to practice gratitude for things that you do have. Yeah, I have a sore throat and it's super annoying and I want to get rid of it right now. But there are people who our immune systems are so compromised, they're getting sick every single day. There's not one day that they can't remember that they haven't been sick. Some people have terminal illnesses. It's just something to keep in mind for myself. And it's very important that when I talk to you guys, and I'm saying important a million times, but when I talk to you guys, I am talking to myself too. I don't have all the answers. I'm not sitting here like, oh, come to me and I'll tell. No, it's a place for you to come sit down for 20, 30 minutes a day and find things that you can resonate with in your own life based on my anecdotal experience. A couple years ago, I decided to become an entrepreneur, give up the 9-to-5, become somebody who gets paid to be themselves. That was my ultimate goal. And so I knew I wanted to get paid to be me, but I didn't necessarily know how. It was a little bit too broad. So I figured out, maybe I should do streaming. So I streamed for a little while and I liked it, but after a while I didn't really do it. And then I wanted to do like comedy shows, like on YouTube, 10-minute comedy shows. And so I started doing that. I liked it for a while, and then that's not really what I wanted to do anymore. So now, just with the company that I've worked with, being a game show host mixed in with these videos, I found that this is something that I really want to do. And it's a balance between knowing what you want and having the open-mindedness and the perception to know where it is that you want to be. My chief definite aim is to get paid to be me, right? But that could look in many different ways to some people. People will choose to have less, right? Which I think is more. And then they'll self-sabotage themselves by thinking the only way that they'll become successful is through their means, the way they see fit. When they forget, manifesting is bringing whatever's meant for you towards you. And how could we know what we're meant for against somebody like the creator of our universe? Like, how could we ever compare ourselves? So knowing what it is that you want, but thinking it can only happen the way that you want is the balance that I'm talking about, right? That's why it's almost funny to say less is more, because there's not too much we can do after giving it our best, living genuinely and authentically. There's not much to do after that. Letting go of control of what will happen based on the effort that we put in, we can't control that, which is why less is more is not just in a career choice, but in a mindset, the way that you can go about living life, your emotions, your thought processes. Less is more. Living in the present moment is less, right? People live in the present, the future, and the past all at once, and they just bounce in between all of them all day, and they're sitting there daydreaming, not even living in the present moment. Less is more, right? Not in career choice, but in mind state, existing in the present moment. Like, those are all things that are super important. People, wasting all their energy, right? I love to make analogies, but sometimes it's best to just sit where you are and think for a while about what's next to do, instead of just jumping around, thinking that movement or working harder will get you to the place where you want to go, or get you out of this rut or this hole, right? I've been a fan my whole life of the idea of working smarter and not harder, right? Especially in this day and age, with the digital age, where you can make money off of your phone doing who knows what, selling a product, selling a service, having people meet you in a Zoom meeting and you give them life advice or consulting or selling cards. There's just a million different ways to make money. So in this day and age, I think it's more about working smarter and not harder. And again, that's less is more, because some people think working a 9-to-5 for 50 years and getting their pension and a 401k and all these things will set them up for life. But little did you know, you worked from 20 to 60. Like, you're thinking, when I retire, it's like, brother, you're almost like 30. This is, for example, right? I'm talking to me, I'm in my late 20s. It's like you're about to work for another 25 years, and then now you're like, awesome, 60 years old. Like, life is good now. It's like, why does life have to be good then? Like, and it's just my brain, you know. I'm sorry if this doesn't resonate with you. It is what it is. I'm not trying to make it, you know. Anyways, in my head, working smarter, there are ways to go about, if I can really sit here and think and find mentors, read books, and gain perspective, there are ways in a smart way where I can make money, right? For example, in my life, I get paid to be me, right? I make these videos and I go and be a game show host for companies, and I do brand deals, UGC deals. All of it derives from my phone. Yeah, I do like hosting and stuff, but I'm kind of just standing there moving a mic, in essence. And I've made, or on my way to making a really good amount of money getting paid to be me as a full-time entrepreneur. So that's just one point, right? Like, in my life, that's where I see it. And so I'm wondering in your guys' life, where you can see situations where, man, maybe I am moving around a little bit too much. Maybe I am working too hard. Maybe I need to take a step back. Maybe let go of what it is that I want for 2 days and sit back and think about, how can I automate this? How can I make this more accessible? How can I not work so hard? How can I use the time that I'm not spending working so hard to think about other things in my business, in my journey that I can work on? This book I'm reading called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. It's the second book to read after Rich Dad Poor Dad. Phenomenal book. It basically says somebody who spends their time thinking is a powerful person, because not a lot of people get to spend their time thinking about what it is that they want. Either they have some sort of job where they work a 9 to 5 where it's kind of thought for them, and then they get off work and they worry about the Knicks and they worry about their shows or their kids or their girlfriend. A lot of people don't actually have time to think about what it is that they want, because society is built in a way where you have to wake up, go to work, come home, and only spend those couple of hours in the present moment with your family or your friends or your game shows or your, you know, the baseball's on, right? A man that has time to think is a powerful man. And at the end of the day, humans trade time for money. That's like the grand scheme of life in society. You trade, if you're an employee, you trade time for money. And it's like, time is something you can't get back, but money is. So if with that mindset, how can I not find ways to work smarter, where maybe I have my money create me more money? Maybe I have things that are timeless. Like for me, I'm thinking in my head, I make videos. These are things that are timeless. People can watch down the road that I'll make money off of, where it doesn't need me to work hours and hours for that thing to get done. Building a business, a product, right? That's timeless. I can get my time back by selling something that I made that can be replicated and used over and over again. I guess I'm just trying to paint a picture that in this day and age, life, you can find a way to work smarter and not harder. And in turn, live a life where you are in less, right? Where you have less, where you have less things to do, more time to think, more things to accomplish, if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm resonating with you guys, but less is truly more. I had an idea of what I wanted to say. What time are we at? Halfway. Okay. I feel like another example I can make here is in the gym, when they say, oh, less is more. People will go to the gym just to come home and eat whatever it is that they want. And they end up working way harder at the gym to never see any changes. When I lived in Texas for a couple of years, I swear to you, no offense to this guy, but I saw the same guy run on the treadmill. I'm talking like he was busting his butt every single day on that treadmill, working. I was like, yo, this guy, when I first got into the gym, I was like, yo, this guy, I'm about to see a huge change. He's about to lose a ton of weight. This guy's working hard. I respect it. I swear to you guys, I was at that gym for like 10, 11 months. He did not change his look at all. And it baffled me. And so I even went home and I did some research, and it's just his diet, it's just the best way to say it. It's his diet. And by working harder, he actually never changed. Yeah, he may have better heart health or whatever, but in terms of him wanting to lose weight, which I knew was his goal, could just tell by, the way I was looking at him, no disrespect. There are other ways to work smarter. Now, if this same guy had the same ambition and drive and just cleaning up his diet and then going to the gym every so often, he would have shedded pounds. He would have shedded so much weight. Taking that moment to work smarter. Does he have to work harder per se by changing his diet? Not necessarily. He can go to the grocery store and use his fingers and ChatGPT and the internet to figure out what other foods to eat. Sure, I guess it takes a little bit of brain power, but sitting back and thinking about how can I work smarter to lose weight by changing his diet and not necessarily working so hard. I'm telling you, this guy was drenched, busting his butt every day on the treadmill. Taking that moment to work smarter allows him to have more time and not work as hard for the things that he wants, right? That's another example that less is truly more. Taking a moment to step back and not think about, dang, I have to work so hard here. No. How about we find a way to work smarter first? That's not to say that there aren't moments, right? In my life, as an entrepreneur, there are moments where you have to buckle down and you have to work. Editing, for example, for me, takes a long time. In this kind of content strategy that I have, I'm thankful that it doesn't take a lot of time. Honestly, it takes like 20 to 30 minutes, but a lot of my other videos used to take hours. I used to spend 30 hours a week editing. There's no way around certain things. I could pay somebody who would be down to work for me for free or a low amount of money so that when I make a good amount of revenue, he gets percentage of the revenue that I make. Maybe he could buy in and invest in my business. See, that's something where I could work smarter and give up the editing 30 hours a week for somebody who would do it for free and under the promise that I'll grow and be big and they'll get a percentage of my revenue. Like, that's an example of, okay, I could work smarter, but I don't necessarily want to share that capital right now. Or at the time when I lived in Texas, sometimes you are just gonna have to buckle down and simply work harder. There's no way around it. But to take those moments and figure out, dang, can I work smarter here? Is there less work to do? And that's the same thing with a lot of our possessions and our belongings. Do we really need alcohol? Like, do we really need it? No. Do we need to smoke weed? No. Do we need nicotine to our existence? No. Do we need to, a man or a female that's single, do we need to spend our money on going on all these dates and talking to all these women or men and spending that time doing that? No. Like, less is truly more when you know what it is that you want. Especially if it's something that's unprecedented. Less is more. The less belongings that you have, the less clothes that you have, the less shoes, the less time that you're spending money on unimportant things, that's all super valuable. Less is truly more, because having less allows you to do more. Working less allows you to think more. Spending less allows you to use more capital. Less is truly more. Like, even with myself, a lot of the clothes and like jewelry and just things I want to spend my money on, it's rare that you see me spending money on silly things. I try to figure out as many ways as possible. Am I buying something that's an asset or a liability? If I go to the store and I buy some t-shirt that's like $60, ultimately that's a liability. If I were to sell it, I would lose money on that investment. Unless I buy like a super, coveted t-shirt or shoe that I don't wear. Now, what's the point of that? Like, I have something stuffed in my closet that I don't wear. I'm better off just buying a stock or some crypto. Like, having less things to buy, less things to worry about, it just opens up so much more free time and capital for me to use. And that's something I'd advise to you guys, especially a lot of my youngins. Think about before you buy something, right? Obviously, you need food and rent and to pay the light bill and a gym membership. Like, those are all things that help and are valuable. But ask yourself before you buy some things, like, what am I buying this for? Is it truly an asset, something that's going to help me? Or is this a liability? Is this something that I'm merely buying for validation or for me to feel good or for me to have as an excuse instead of chasing something that I want, something unprecedented, something that I know not a lot of people can get to? But then I spend my hard-earned money on things that are actually sabotaging my journey. And you're in your own journey. You know better than you do. I don't know your journey. I don't know what it is that you have to go through. I don't know that. But I'm just saying, in your own life, try to think about that. Things that you spend. Am I really in a less is more? Am I just buying things just to buy them? One piece of advice from me, whenever I make a good amount of money and I have like $1,000 worth, I try to put that into my savings. This is just a random tangent. But let's say in a month I made $2,600. And let's say, it's just for example, this is my life, but let's say my rent is $1,000. Now I'm stuck at $1,600, right? I would put $1,000 into my savings and see if I can spend the whole month with $600. It almost forces yourself. And then in my brain, in my savings account, that doesn't exist. Like I can't pull from there. Unless something crazy happens, like an emergency fund, or I'm really down bad for some reason, and financially, and I need something, I'll put that money away entirely and act like it doesn't exist. That's almost how I'll set myself up to force me to be in a less is more mindset. I don't know, it's just an idea. Something that I've done recently. But yeah, less is truly more. So I guess I'm trying to think about what you guys would say right now. You'd ask me, well, what happens if I have to buy stuff that may be a liability, but I know it will ultimately benefit me? And then I'd say, well, is that consumable things like weed or alcohol or nicotine or like going out? Like I could see if you were buying camera gear, right? Like mics and a better phone and a tripod for if you want to be a content creator, or buying the books or the tuition or whatever that's necessary. That's all investments. Sure, those things depreciate in value once you buy them, but those help you invest. That's working smarter. I don't want you to think like, oh, I shouldn't buy anything or I shouldn't do anything. Like when it's time to act, when it's time to spend money on things that make sense, you have to be able to jump on that opportunity. That's where the burning desire comes from. But you have to have the patience and the perception to live in a less is more mindset and be willing and able to attack anything that comes your way by adding supreme value. How to Sell Your Way Through Life by Napoleon Hill. One of the biggest things that he talks about is providing maximum value. Less is more, right? I'm not moving so much. But if an opportunity comes for somebody and I know that it's a very valuable thing for me to do, I need to give maximum effort and provide maximum value. Like Messi, right? Messi will stay in one place, not move around for like 3 to 5 minutes, just be in the middle of the floor, seeing reads, right? Seeing where he needs to go on the pitch, the run he needs to make, what may happen, the play that's ensuing, and then he acts. Maximum effort, maximum value, and gets the job done. Less is more is not just to sit around and allow God to create these wish on a star, dream-like opportunities. No, it's just, all I'm saying is simply let go. And once you know what you want, stop moving around so much. Focus your attention on a couple of things, one significant other, one business idea, one content strategy, one career choice, and then go all in on that. It's okay to put, Warren Buffett says it's actually okay to place all your eggs in one basket if you've done your research and you know it's something that can't fail, including yourself, including your journey, including your career. It's all right to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't have to diversify your life. In my opinion, too much diversification shows a lack of being able to take that risk, to be able to take that chance. If I'm always dipping in certain caveats of careers that I want to be in, I'm just the guy who's practicing 10,000 kicks one time. That doesn't really do much. Like, I guess I'm a jack of all trades in a sense, but there's people who are doing far better in each of those careers that are making far more money than me. Why would I not just figure out exactly what it is that I want and then attack that, knowing that I cannot fail? I'm the co-creator of my reality with God. I have a chief definite aim, burning desire, unwavering faith. Physical equivalent is inevitable. Less is truly more in all avenues of life. Even just talking to other people, right? Staying humble, something important. Speaking less, listening more. Imagine if somebody's in front of you and they're Mr. Beast, or somebody that's really big in the content space, and I'm sitting there trying to yap to them, trying to gain their validation. Like, what does that even do? Like, Mr. Beast is so big, he probably won't even remember me 2 or 3 days from now. Why don't I just be quiet, stop talking, less is more, and allow this man to speak and drop gems if I'm quiet enough, if I can listen well enough? A lot of people would rather just yap for validation. What does that really do? To trick yourself into thinking that, oh, I was here in this conversation with this guy who owns this business and I was able to talk about this and that, so I looked really cool. Meanwhile, if you were just quiet, less is more, you're just quiet, he would have dropped so many gems for you to pick up. Some people are so quick to respond, so quick to give their energy out. Why? Less is more. There's really no need for a reaction. Sometimes there's no reason to have conversations with people. People want to argue with you ever in the comments or wherever in life. Just let them be, bro. Like, what does that do? Giving that energy to them doesn't do anything. Less is more. Stop giving out as much energy. Stop wasting time doing things that don't resonate or don't help you in your journey. Doing less in those areas will help you do more in others. And I know I've probably said less is more like 50 times, but I just want to make sure you guys really get that concept. Because I need it more in my life. This is the reason why I wanted to talk to you about it. In my life, I can see myself naturally doing that. Not spending money unless it's on things like experiences, right? Like, I'm going out of the country at the end of the month. In the summer, I'm planning on going to Japan. Like, those are things to me that are timeless. You know, when I have grandkids and I lay down and I show them pictures like, man, your grandpappy, your grandfather was in Japan, blah, blah, blah. Like, those are things to me that I'll never get back. Like, those are experiences that will last a lifetime. Those are things that I'm willing to spend money on rather than buying some $250 Jordans or a $500 chain or, I don't know, going to the bars and clubs and spending $100 a weekend every weekend for a whole year, right? Like, just doing the math in your head. If I go out every weekend, and let's say I spend an average of $100, 2 months, I go out every weekend, that's 8 weekends. That's a flight to Japan. I don't know, that's just in my head, that's what I'd rather think about. Less is more. If I choose to spend less time worrying about things that everyone else is worrying about, I actually have more capital and other opportunities and other things to do things that they can't. Simply because of my mindset, well, working smarter, not harder. Taking a moment to sit back and think about how you can optimize your decision-making, your journey, your thought process, like that actually saves you so much money, so much time, gives you so many more opportunities. Not feeling like you need to gain validation from everybody that you see that's at a higher place than you, but instead just being quiet and listening. Like, bro, I'm telling you, figure out ways to do less. Figure out ways to not work so fucking hard. Figure out ways to not work so hard. How can I work smarter? How can I do less, which will allow me to do more? Where we at? All right, seems like a good place to cut off. So what I want to do is a guided meditation. You can find somewhere on the floor, somewhere on the ground, say crisscross applesauce, whatever feels comfortable. Give you a moment. And what I want you to do is take a deep breath for me. So we're gonna breathe in and breathe out. We're gonna do this 2 more times. Breathe in and breathe out. 1 more time, breathe in and breathe out. And what I want you to think about, keep your eyes closed for me, is areas in your life where you feel like you may be doing the most, you may be doing too much. Gaining validation from friends, working too hard at your job that you know is a dead-end job, spending time and money and attention on things that don't help you in your journey. Think about that right now. In some areas where, man, I'm doing way too much in a relationship, friendship. Think about that. And what I want you to do is ask yourself why. Why are you spending time doing the most there? Be honest with yourself. I don't know. It's between you and you. Why? Is it because you're not paying attention? The lack of perception? Maybe you're not calling yourself out on excuses. Maybe you're not holding yourself accountable. Think about how you can rather work smarter instead of working harder. And sometimes working smarter is just maybe not participating and hanging out with that person so much, or doing that thing so much, or, thinking about that job, or what may happen with this friend or this instance, or what happened in the past. Maybe finding moments in the present that will allow you to figure out where it is that you want to go, who it is that you want to be. Maybe you're doing too much because you simply don't know what you want. Figure out what it is that you want right now. What is it? Say it in your mind's eye. What is it that you want? And are you pushing towards that every day? Are you genuinely making efforts to make that happen? Or are you distracted? Are you worrying about other things that don't resonate or don't help you in your life? Worrying about the wrong people? Maybe you don't know really what it is that you want. Maybe that's why it's so hard for you to find your focus or practice that one kick 10,000 times. Figuring out ways to work smarter and not harder. Very important. All right, you can open your eyes now. Appreciate you guys for sticking with me, man. Super thankful for this journey. And like I said, today was a day where I didn't really want to do this, but I knew that it just made sense. And I'm thankful that I get to talk out loud and learn from myself. And hopefully one day one day there will be comments in the videos where we can all just discuss and have a great time and uplift each other and create a community. I'm excited for this. So I have to build brick by brick. There are no excuses as to why I shouldn't push for what it is that I want. I have a chief definite aim, growing this account, growing this business, growing this idea. I have a burning desire for it to happen. I'm pushing for it every day. I'm in the present moment, and I have unwavering faith that it will happen. So the physical equivalent is inevitable in anything I choose to do. And I'm just talking about this right now. So, all right, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time.